Hello everybody, my name is Feb3 and welcome back to another Storytime. So this story is about the time me and my friends found out about the abandoned old dairy factory. This factory was built in 1960 on land that was about 320,000 square feet, which is quite a lot. The first time I ever heard about the abandoned old factory was when one from the class above us told us how they found a hole in a fence at the abandoned factory. The students in the class above told us that there was a way up to the roof that they climbed on. He even showed us some pictures that they took when they were up there. We also heard a lot of rumors that there was a couple of homeless people that lived there. The dairy factory had a medium-sized U building by the side of the road near the fence, and a few meters in past the gates were the main building, with two smaller ones at each side of the main building. The next day, me and my classmates talked about the abandoned factory the whole day at school. We even decided that we would gather 3 people from our class, and we all decided that we would take the bikes and survey the factory after school. As we got there, nobody was there. And I want to tell you guys that this factory is in a secluded area. It's not hard to find and it's not too easy. It rained too that day, so it made more sense that nobody was there. When we were outside the U-shaped building, we saw that the windows were barricaded and that the whole area had barbed wired fence around it. So the only way in was to make a hole in the fence. And we didn't have the tools needed for that, unfortunately. When we stood outside the U-shaped building, we heard a sound that came from the inside of the building. Then one from our little group decided that we should try to see if someone was in the building. So he threw a rotten apple on the barricaded window, and we all heard a little sound afterwards coming from the inside of the building. So we quickly fell back a few meters, and then he threw another rotten apple that went into a hole in the building. It echoed inside and another sound was heard. Then we decided that this was a cool place and that we wanted to explore it a bit more. So the next day at school, we asked the same guy who told us about the place where this hole in the fence was. He then told us that we needed to go in from the grove, which was closer to the main building. And after school, we all took our bikes and got back to the factory. We looked around and saw that there was a little grove that was uphill. We parked our bicycles on the gravel road, hopped off and looked around to see if there was anybody there. There was one person that walked their dog, so we decided to act quickly and go up the hill. It was a little slippery the way up, but it worked. And after getting up on the hill, we saw a bunker. And beside the bunker, there was a lot of trash scattered around, like toilet paper, canned food, and some toothpicks. We walked past the bunker and saw the fence that everybody was talking about. The fence was a mesh fence and had this thick metal with big rectangular shaped holes that you could see through. We went into the hole one by one, while the last guy looked around in case he saw something. After getting in through the fence, we walked to the first building that was beside the main building, but we couldn't get in. Then we found a busted door and walked into the main building. Then we saw a huge hole in the floor where we couldn't see the bottom of it. When you can't see a bottom of a hole, that means it's deep as fuck. Beside the hole, a little further in, we also saw a huge shit left by one of the homeless people. And this shit wasn't even old. I could tell that with my detective eyes. It was really nasty though to just see a fresh dump. We also got nervous because that just proved that there was actually homeless people that lived in the area. Everything looked run down, and it was junk and cement pieces everywhere. There was even some old newspaper and some old toilet paper in the area. But we delved deeper into the building where we found the dump. The walls were really ugly looking, with a lot of holes in them. And deeper inside of the building, we came to a set of stairs that led up and down. The stairs was really old looking, and it didn't look safe at all, so we tried to go down the stairs. and those stairs led to the bottom of the basement, but we all got cold feet and decided to go out from the small building. After getting out from the small building, we decided to go to the side of the main building. The building had 2 levels and a cellar. This building was about 59 years old at the time we were there, and the building had gone bankrupt long before me and my friends were there. So no wonder it was run down. The bankruptcy was because a liquor company rented the premises, and after that the factory went bankrupt fast. When we were at the side of the main building, we saw more barricaded windows, and when we talked about the building and looked around, we heard glass sounds and a grunt that came inside of the building. And that made us really scared, so we ran back the way we came from, and when we were back where the bikes were, we could finally exhale. Fast forward a couple of years, we gathered another group of friends and decided that we would go in from another opening, or at least see if we could. We got there and we could actually go in from the main entrance. Not exactly the main entrance, but 2 meters from the entrance was a hole, and we all went in through the hole, except one that would stand guard. The one that stood guard was needed because near the entrance was a colony. We never saw anyone in the colony, but we just had to make sure that nobody would see us. And sometimes cars even came driving into the driveway that led to the colonies. And once inside, we began to walk. And after about 1 to 2 minutes of walking, someone yelled and told us to go away, so we ran back as fast as we could. And the last time me and my friends visited that old place was just before it got demolished. That time we didn't even get the chance to go in, because when we all gathered and finally got there, we saw a couple of cops that walked in through the fence, and after a couple of minutes, we saw a huge group of teenagers walking out from the fence, accompanied by the cops, and that made us decide that it would be better to not go in there. As we walked around in the area outside the fence, we saw a weird looking old man sitting on a bench that kept looking into another bunker, and when he left, the bunker was wide open, so we took a quick peek into the bunker and saw a creepy hallway that looked like a trap. I mean, if that old weird man decided to close the door on us, we would get stuck in there, so we didn't hang around for too long. Anyways, that was the story, or stories, about all the times I've ever been to the abandoned dairy factory. It's demolished now, which is really sad because I really wanted to explore the whole thing again as an adult, but it is what it is. I really hope that you guys liked this video. I hope that you have a really good day or night, and I will see you in the next one.